And so people understand the scale of the problem. Pakistani men make up about 2 or 3% of the UK population. They're responsible for 90% of the convictions of these rape gangs. Pakistani men, Muslim men. 90% of the convictions. 30% of the men convicted in these crimes' names are Mohammed. Why? How come it's not the Sikhs? The Jews aren't doing it. The Hindus aren't doing it. No one else is doing it. In fact, they're not doing it, but they're also victims of these gangs. Now, I don't want for 1 minute anyone to think I'm saying every Muslim's involved in this. I grew up in Luton Town. Some of the best people I met growing up are Muslim lads. Yeah, that doesn't deter from this massive problem we've got. Why do they think this way? Why is it facilitated? Why is it being hidden within the community? And why will no one tackle it? But when I started first talking in 2009, this is to understand the, remember, police forces have allowed it to happen. So if you're the head of the police in Rotherham, who's now in charge of counter-terrorism, the head officer who was in charge of Rotherham at the time of this rape gang scandal, who knew it was happening, yeah, Yorkshire Police, I'm in Luton, that's a 3 or 4 hour drive. Who arrested me at the airport when I was arrested by special branch for this hotel? 30 officers from Yorkshire come down. When they bailed me, they give me conditions, which I'm still getting now. My bail conditions, remember, it's silent. No one knows what's going on. Then comes this group coming out of Luton Town. Here come these working class men on the streets of every town and city. Who's organising it? Tommy Robinson. Where's their next city? We chose Bradford, which was where all these gangs are. And we're coming to highlight the grooming issue. So I get arrested by special branch. I then get released on bail. I'm not allowed to send emails. They ban me from sending emails or go straight to jail. I'm not allowed to be in a group of 2 or more English Defence League supporters. And my bail date, that I have to answer bail, is the same date that our demonstration's on. I then put in a complaint through the IPCC, the Independent Police Complaints Commission. And I've got all the paperwork for this. I put the complaint in saying, look, I believe you arrested me on this date on a fabricated charge. We find out in the investigation it was fabricated. The manager of a hotel said, I've never done anything. Yeah. So they fabricated a charge in order to come down in a big police raid. And most of this is about pressure as well, to dawn raid my house. When I first started this activism, my mum was crying, my wife was crying, my whole family were crying. They're all telling me, stop, Stephen, stop, stop, stop. And in those first 6 months, I had 3 dawn raids like this, where I was come in my house. So they were still trying to put it back in and hide it. Then we carried on for 2 years. We carried on highlighting these issues. In 2015, when the Rotherham scandal broke, people realised he was telling the truth. So that's why all these interviews I've done, they're like, well, he was right.
Who's with you now that wasn't with you? Who is the biggest proponent of you now that back in the days wasn't? Because I just recently saw Nigel Farage is no longer supportive like he used to be. He distanced himself from you. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, Elon said something about Nigel Farage. He wasn't too complimentary of him like 3-4 months ago. But who is for you now? Who's starting to say, Tommy's got a point?
So Nigel Farage has never been for me. Nigel Farage has always played the political line and worried about trying to distance himself from me. What they don't realise is, so up in 2015, that's when I started my journalism. So in those early days, it was about being out on the street, getting 5,000, 10,000 people, telling people, here's what's going on. And then I realised this, So I realised, well, I need everyone to see what I've seen. I need people to know what I know. I need them to understand how Islam operates, how they think. I need them to understand the scale of this rape scandal across our country. So then I became a journalist. I started making videos. And within 6 months, I was the most watched journalist in Europe. I blew up, absolutely blew up. I started working for an organisation called Rebel Media in Canada. They offered me a job. I went to jail, come out of jail when all this scandal has been highlighted. Rebel contacted me and said, look, we want you to make some videos. I said, look, I'm trying to make money again. I'm trying to get my life back on track. I'd faced the full weight of the British establishment. Do you know, when I first started this, I knew I'd face threats of terrorism. I knew I'd face violent beatings. There's 5 Muslims in jail doing 30 years. They got caught with guns and bombs and IEDs on the way to kill me. I've had 12 government official Osman warnings telling me there's plans to murder me, not just me. My ex-wife got a knock on the door. There's plans to attack you with acid. My mum and dad, even recently, as 8 months ago, I had to fly them to another country because the police knocked on their door. There's plans to attack you. I knew that would come when you try and discuss Islam. What I didn't expect was the full weight of the British establishment to crush me, attack me. And
who's for you? Who's for me now? Who's the loudest voice that's now for you?
Elon Musk spoke up on my behalf. Many in America. It's been very... I was sitting in jail recently, and my son was playing me recordings over the phone. Charlie Kirk, Steve Bannon, Elon Musk spoke up. The Petersons made a personal video. Tammy Peterson travelled to the prison to try and visit me. There's been a massive shift